Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I would like for you to meet this 9-year-old Devil's Garden gelding, number 5987. He is from the August 2020 gather in Northern California. You will notice he's almost identical to my other Devil's Garden gelding, number 6004, but I promise this is a totally different horse. They are most likely father and son, or at the very least related. I grabbed them both because I love their rich dark brown coloration, sweet faces, and thick long leg feathering. They have more than just fetlock fuzz, they have actual feathering that continues all the way around the front of their hooves like a draft horse. I adore these stocky, fluffy little cobs out of the Devil's Garden. I knew right off the bat this guy was going to be pretty curious and friendly, but the corrals warned me that he tends to be stubborn and a little threatening, so I'm going to make sure the first thing we do is get him to understand yielding his hind end away and facing up. If you would like a more in-depth explanation of how I do this, take a look at my Wild Horse Gentling Lesson 1 video. The next day we work on target training and touch. If he reaches out to touch me with his nose or allows me to touch him, I'm going to reward him with some hay. I'm just going to spend lots of time working with him until I can touch every part of his face, top and bottom, both sides, run my hand over his eyes and touch his ears and pull without him pulling away, spooking, or biting. I love that this gelding is not afraid of hands and actually begins to enjoy being touched and asks for it. This is going to be the horse for someone looking for a more affectionate and your pocket horse. The next step after he's comfortable with his face being touched is to get him accustomed to wearing a halter. I reward him anytime he targets the halter with his nose, and then shape that behavior into him willingly putting his whole head in the halter when I present it. He's very food motivated, and this becomes his favorite game pretty quickly. The key is to reward his effort with the hay and also remove the halter when his head is low to both positively and negatively reinforce the behavior and make it very easy for him to understand. Again, if you are interested in the little details and would like to learn more about the training methods I use, my Wild Horse Gentling series breaks this process down into very simple and easy steps. I know we're moving fast here, but I'm trying to keep it interesting. This here is a pretty cool moment. He allows me to touch up by his throat and neck and isn't terribly worried about me being there, so I take the opportunity to remove his tag. These neck tags are placed on these wild horses when they are processed and holding, so that they can be easily identified. He's watching me so closely the whole time I'm working that tag off, but I know he's not worried about it when he keeps touching and targeting me like I'm a giant food dispenser button. They always say the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. I really think that applies to geldings too. 5987 is the last 4 digits of his identification number. For BLM horses, this will also correspond with the last 4 symbols in their Freeze brand, but the U.S. Forest Service microchips instead of branding, so my Devil's Garden horses do not have Freeze brands on their necks. And we are back at it with the halter. He's still not too sure about it smashing his ears down, so I'm not going to tiptoe around it or baby him. The more practice we get going over those ears, the better. He's going to try to avoid it as much as he can, but he will learn that this is no big deal. Boy, you got a little head. It takes a few tries to get the halter adjusted to the right size. I want to make sure it's not too loose, but also want to make sure it's loose enough that the metal does not rub against his cheekbones. Well, there you have it, the first week working with the feral horse. This gelding is going to be so much fun to work with, so be sure to follow his progress, as things will be getting pretty exciting moving forward. If you are interested in adopting him, he will be available when his training is further along. I can't wait to see how much he fills in with proper diet and exercise. I think the cold Northern California winter took a lot out of him, so we will be getting him feeling and looking his Florida best here pretty soon. See you in the next video.